This might be the first time in 10 Years Later that I'm going to be talking about an album that I previously listened to but didn't do a proper review of. Don't know how many times that's going to happen in the future, but probably at least a couple. Welcome back to 10 Years Later, the series where I talk about albums from the 2010s that were either impactful to me, impactful to music in general, very popular, or just worth revisiting 10 years later for good or bad reasons. And as you can tell from the title, the record that we'll be talking about today is the 2012 Chance the Rapper mixtape 10 Day. This was the debut commercial mixtape from Chance the Rapper, the singer and, yep, you guessed it, rapper based out in Chicago. These days we know Chance for some of his iconic independently produced mixtapes or for his love of his wife, but this mixtape came from humble beginnings. And by that I mean Chance got suspended from school for 10 days for bringing weed onto his high school campus, hence the title of this project. Hey man, gotta start somewhere. But yes, Chance made this tape at a time when Complex was already putting attention on him as a Chicago rapper to watch out for. And after releasing it as a digital download, it blew up and began doing some huge numbers on sites like DatPiff and Mixtape Monkey, firmly establishing a lot of the hype surrounding his name. Now, my first experience with Chance came through his third commercial mixtape coloring book, so I didn't get to listen to this project when it first came out. In fact, I didn't hear it at all until 2019. In the lead up to that year's release of his debut album, The Big Day, Chance reissued this project on streaming services alongside his next tape, Acid Rap. I wanted to check both of them out, and after listening to 10 Day, I found it to be a pretty fine record, but one that paled a bit in comparison to Chance's other tapes. Still, I was interested in going back to it for this series to see if I miss anything the first time or would appreciate it anymore. It's 14 tracks in 52 minutes, which is a nice length, though not nearly as unwieldy as some mixtapes. And in my return to the record, I can say my feelings were a bit more positive, though only a marginal amount. Otherwise, I still see this project as being just fine, but not pushing toward the top of Chance's future projects. I think the biggest issue I had with this mixtape upon first listen and in my return was that while Chance always had that exuberant, fun personality, many of the songs on here struggle on the back of lacking unique production to back them up. Being an early project from him, the mixing is a bit crude and some songs feel like they're a bit carried by his personality. 14,400 Minutes is one of the many songs where Chance's presence and personality is on full display, but the production leaves a little something to be desired. It's a short intro that doesn't give too much to chew over sonically other than just introducing us to Chance's situation at the time. Same could be said for a song like the boisterous 22 Offs interlude, which despite having some very brutally honest bars, does leave very little, being that it's just over a minute and a half long. And while I enjoy a lot of Chance's twists and rhyme schemes over the light beat of Brain Cells, I think the song could have used a slightly better chorus. Plus, with a lot of songs seeming to sound just like this one on the mixtape, it can feel a tiny bit homogenous. I noticed that with a track like You Got Me Fucked Up, which also could have used a better chorus, and most especially Fuck You Tahm About, which despite all its hype energy and the gleeful late 2000s to early 2010s hip-hop beat, hardly feels like the type of song Chance would be making. I don't even remember what my least favorite tracks were when I listened to the mixtape before, but in hindsight this was definitely one of them. The tape also features a second version of the track Long Time that's simply called Long Time 2, which despite feeling a bit more boisterous and emotional and having a different verse, loses some of the playfulness of the original version, and some of the sonic elements, like ironically the trumpet, feel a bit more annoying at some points than the original. Now that's not to say the tape is all bad, because there are plenty of tracks I've come back to a lot, and there are several moments where the production and Chance's vocals can mix pretty harmoniously. Missing You was a favorite of mine in my initial listen, as despite its short length, it's one of Chance's darkest songs. He talks about Rodney Kiles Jr., a friend of his who was stabbed in September 2011 right in front of Chance's eyes. The song takes on a dark, reverby feel before transitioning into this delicate piano melody in the back end that makes it feel really varied. Windows is another old favorite of mine where Chance drops a vibrant performance over a very soulful beat that contrasts the vocal energy well. A great guest verse by Alex Wiley and beautiful chorus from Akenya Seymour round the song out perfectly too. I also enjoyed the aforementioned first version of Long Time a lot for how playful its production is and how tastefully Chance integrated that sample of Beirut's song Nantes. The song twists and turns a lot, but Chance is able to pull it together nicely. And while Nostalgia wasn't an initial favorite of mine when I first listened to the tape, it it did grow on me in my return. I love the relaxed vibe of the instrumental, and while Chance's vocals are mixed a bit quietly, he sounds smooth and lovely on such a mellow song. Family is probably the track I've come back to the most from this tape thanks to the lovely instrumental featuring a sample of Angel's You're Not Fooling Me. The smooth beat and snappy hook combined with the performances of Chance, Vic Mensa, and Suleiman make it such a breezy, vibey song that's hard to resist. Same goes for Juke Duke, another track I've gotten a lot of repeat listens out of. I like how it carries that old school R&B vibe with a lot of bounce to the beat and the performances. It's an incredibly smooth but still fantastic vibe of a song that really showcased a lot of Chance's potential early and often. And Prom Night is another cut I enjoyed a lot in my original listen for how much its emotion punches through and how raw a lot of Chance's bars and storytelling feel. As smooth and light as the beat is, Chance's performance is so impassioned that it really lifts the song. This feels like it should have been the closer to the mixtape, but instead we top off with Hey Ma, which as the title obviously suggests is a nice message from Chance to his mother. I appreciate the message and the gesture, though I do wish I liked the song itself just a little bit more. The vocal energy is sweet, as is the instrumental bounce, but the chorus doesn't really grab me all that much, and the mixture of sonic elements can feel a bit distracting at points. It's not bad, though I wish Prom Night closed the mixtape instead. Overall, while my return to 10 Day was a small bit better than before, I can't say my feelings have changed that significantly. Much like many artists when they drop their debut mixtapes, Chance had some bugs to iron out here. Some of the mixing quality can feel a little rough around the edges, and I stand by my opinion that the production didn't support Chance well enough here. He's an artist who has a very exciting, fun type of energy in his performances, but production provides a support structure. So when that production doesn't do that supporting, it makes the songs a little harder to gravitate toward. And it's not like the beats are all bad on here, because many of them sound good. It's just that quite a few end up blending into each other to the point where they can lose momentum. Thankfully, Chance still knows how to craft a hook every once in a while, and he also manages to be a good overall performer with some nice wordplay, which can lift a few of the songs. Even if my feelings on the tape are not overwhelmingly positive, I can't really hold this project against Chance. It was a good blueprint for the future and a sign that with the right instrumentals, he would have a lot of success, which I would say came true with his subsequent mixtapes. Back in 2012, I don't know how much I would have been able to get into this thing. What little hip-hop I listened to at the time was reserved for Eminem and Drake, and I'm not sure if Chance's style would have clicked with me. When I listened to it back in 2019, I remember thinking that it was just okay, but not really enjoying it as much as Chance's other records. Listening to it now, my feelings are the tiniest bit more positive, but not really enough to dramatically change my opinion on this tape. Back in 2019, I probably would have given this an okay rating if I had done a proper review, and I think I'd stick with that rating now. It's rough around the edges, which probably doesn't surprise anyone given that it was Chance's first tape, but there were enough moments that hinted nicely at Chance's future potential, and obviously he would improve exponentially after this. But that's just my opinion on this mixtape. What did you guys think about it? Did you listen to it back in 2012? Do you still listen to it now? Did you love it back then, hate it back then? Do you still love it now? Do you still hate it now? Are you just completely indifferent toward it? And where would you rank it among Chance the Rapper's mixtapes? Whatever your thoughts and experiences are, leave them down in the comments below. Let's keep this civil and have some fun as we like to do. If you guys want to hit like and subscribe and support some of my other ventures that I have linked in the description, thank you. If not, it's no big deal. I totally understand. And I have one more April 2012 album to talk about for 10 years later, and that is going to be Future's album, Pluto. I have a lot of thoughts on that one, so stay tuned for that. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.